Yo, what's up? What's up? It's the Hungry Millennial back again with yet another proactive pragmatism. So, on today's proactive pragmatism, I'd like to talk to you about owning your stress. And inevitably, no matter what we're going through in life, there's going to be stress. And the other day, I was listening to a podcast on YouTube, and a very profound uh, speaker of Stoicism was talking about how stress is your body telling you that either you're living in the past or you're living in the future. And a big way that we can overcome stress is by being present in the now. And so let's talk about overcoming stress. So what in order to overcome the stresses in your life, you have to be willing to be present. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable, and you have to continue to be humbled. It's okay to struggle. So when we're talking about being present, we're talking about the fact that your journey is your journey. It's nobody else's, and that's the beauty of it. You can personalize and customize it just like a video game or just like your makeup or whatever, whatever you cling to. And you can create your own style. And that journey of being present creates swagger because it's all about that self-awareness, and self-awareness is key. What you want to do in self-awareness is you want to take it a day at a time. And so recently I took over a route for another driver whose wife is having a baby. Shout out to them. Congrats on their little boy that they're having. And it's a beautiful process. But one thing that I've struggled with is when you've done the job for so many years and a new task comes up, because this is a ground route, and it has a lot of ins and outs. You have to have a lot of self-discipline. You have to have a lot of internal, intestinal fortitude. And it's really hard for me because I just got back from deployment not too long ago, and it's new. And, it's, I pride myself on, being able to, master things and being more self-awareness, being more self-aware. And through that self-awareness, sometimes I become harder on myself and I induce stress, and I go through it, and it becomes hard. But I have to be self-aware enough to, and my body has adjusted recently, like we've been here before and we can conquer this task. It's just a different ground route. It's the same problem. It's just a different spoon. And so we have to reiterate those things that we used to do back when we back when we were a novice driver way back in the day. And also the keys that I've learned from other drivers along the way with, running routes differently, and taking a different approach to things. I like to learn from, the most novice driver to the most experienced driver. And so being present in the moment is understanding that people along that route are going to be frustrated because things are happening at different times, and not internalizing that stress. My daughter said something that was very pivotal to me. And she said, because we were at a swim lesson, I was like, "You got better today." And she was like, "Do your best and forget the rest." And often we have to do that and reset. And I'm not saying forget the lessons and the growing pains. I'm saying take those at the end of the day, get some rest, and come back swinging the next day and go harder. Figure out a way to master those concepts, whether we have to be smarter, whether we have to manage our time a little bit better, whether it's just one of those things where we, consume more water because we know we're going to be sore the next day, right? And so it's one of those things where it makes me very, very uncomfortable to be in this situation. But the beauty of life is, like, I know that I know myself, and when you're self-aware enough, you know the little things that you can put in your way to help you succeed. Getting in early, uh listening to, feedback from the driver, even though you have your own way, follow their way, and then embody self-mastery. And so you have to be willing to be uncomfortable with new tasks, because all the lessons are in that discomfort. All the small minute details are what's going to make you great. And if you continue to take on challenges, you're going to love yourself more, because you know that you have all the tools inside of you to succeed, but you've got to find that balance. And one thing that you have to also do in discomfort is you have to be proactive. And that's what this podcast is all about, being proactive and pragmatic about things, breaking down the steps, being honest with yourself. I'm not them, I'm me. I didn't do the job as well as I wanted to yesterday. So today, this next day, I got to come back swinging. It's just like with anything else. Most people, the majority of the population, wasn't born with an extreme amount of talent, but they were, or extreme amount of smarts. But once you start to embody mastery, you will continue to be humbled, and you will continue to struggle. And we have to understand that being humbled is okay. Struggling is okay. Growing is okay. I am not my past self. You might come from a background that wasn't the best background, so they taught you these different lessons and these things about survival, and that's not how you should be surviving and treating other people along the process. But that process is all about self mastery and growth. And where there is humility, there's the opportunity for self mastery. And Robert Greene talks about this in On Mastery, his book on mastery. And he talks about how it takes a lot of hours to do something. And sometimes it takes just a little bit of doing some research. Like I asked my boss, was like, how long does it, like, I'm feeling like I'm hurting here. I feel like I'm doing a bad job. And me, like, I want to do the best that I possibly can to support the team, to support the organization, because I know that every package feeds the pot of money that gets provided to other drivers. And so I want to make sure that I am doing the best to embody, as much greatness as I can muster up in that moment, so that way I can spark change, and I can continue being that beacon of light. So I can continue saying, hey, you may not be able to own this situation right now, but if you start taking it piece by piece, stop by stop, package by package, you, yourself, and others are going to grow, because there's always somebody watching. And so we have to not be so hard on ourselves and be willing to make those adjustments to make us uncomfortable, because everything that makes us uncomfortable teaches us something about ourselves and something about life. And so I want you to start living in the present, own the stress, be present, be willing to be uncomfortable, and continue to be humbled. It's okay to struggle, because in that struggle, there's everything that you need for growth. And even if it's information that you feel like is ignorant coming from a customer, take that pain and internalize it. Don't take it personal, but put it in your toolkit and say, hey, you know what? I want to do my best with this customer and this organization. So tomorrow I'm going to do better. I'm going to become my best self. I'm going to transcend the suffering, and I'm going to show them that I'm a good quality, I'm a quality worker. I do good work. That it, and a lot of times people are focused on their own stress. Don't get caught up in other people's stress. They may be frustrated with you, but they're not understanding the situation. You don't just wake up and become the greatest driver, delivery driver ever, because the fact is there's no way you can know every street. There's no way that you can know every stop, every person. That's something that you have to learn, and that's just with life. There's no way you can you can know everything. People aren't perfect. We're fallible. We all make mistakes. And so, but they may not be coming from there, and that's okay. They don't understand your journey. They don't understand where you came from. People don't, and it's one of those things where even verbalizing it to them, a lot of it doesn't matter in that moment. It's just adding more stress. So internalize that feedback and use that pain for growth. Use that stress to tell you, hey, you know what, we're better than this. Here, let me get on YouTube or get on, social media and Google how other people manage to do this better. Or, hey, let me reach out to the next driver. And it's hard reaching out to the person next to you, or the boss, or the last person, and humbling yourself like, hey, how can I do this better? And when you start to look at those learning lessons and you start to embody those, you're like, okay, here's a piece. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. It becomes there's a breaking point where you're like, man, I came through and I'm able to master this. And now you also have to set new goals, because now you're talking about maintenance. Now you're talking about consistency. Now you're talking about keeping it. So, this is the Hungry Millennial back again with another Proactive Pragmatism. I appreciate you guys. Keep tuning in. We are carrying on with our series, Millennials Are. This week we have the Alan Billinger. He was a 2015 Southern Illinois Player of the Year. It's going to be an awesome podcast. So I appreciate you guys staying in tune and staying hip, and and following me along as I master myself and master the hard things along this life journey. There are no perfect people, but we can do our best to be outstanding every day. And when you do that, things are going to change for you because you're striving at a goal. So, yo, if you have any questions or any feedback for the podcast, you can reach us at PROPRAG20 at gmail.com. It is proprag20 at gmail.com. I appreciate you guys. Keep listening and keep tuning in. We're available on all major platforms. Thank you.